Welcome to the Sleeping Barber Podcast.
Welcome to the Post-Pod.
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 We need someone to create a nice jingle for us.
That'd be great.
Anyone out there? Come on.
No, well, I have that guitar that I keep talking about every now and then. Yeah, but I just never get around. I'm not a songwriter, Pete, is ultimately what this comes down to. One day I'm going to surprise you with something, though.
Let's do it, man. Charlotte Blank. What an incredible conversation.
So good.
Yeah, I didn't even know. Go.
No, it's so interesting from top to bottom for me. Like the whole approach that she has and the mentality and the thinking. Like for me, we've talked a lot about CMO, CEO, CFO relationships and all that kind of thing. And it to me, like having someone like that, it just inspires confidence.
100%.
I think, you've got this person with a framework and a model, and like it's not about I know the right answer. It's like we can get an answer and we can de-risk our decisions.
Totally.
Through science. Like let's learn, let's test, all that. It's so interesting and refreshing.
And I just feel like when you take that approach and you get buy-in, it just makes things easier.
Yeah.
Because you remove emotion out of it, right? You remove your opinions out of it. It's like it's rooted in data. It's rooted in science. And if a brand like JLR is going through this massive shift, Land Rover, Jaguar, you almost need to go in that direction to help achieve that buy-in. Because in the absence of that, you're just, at least
a lot of opinion.
You're just dealing with a lot of opinions. Like, well, think about the Jaguar rebrand in of itself. That had to go against a lot of internal biases that may have existed about the brand. They should talk about the racing green, right? The heritage. But the inside, like those people aren't even buying Jaguar anymore. Where does that live in the ecosystem? Like, how does that redefine the brand and its direction where it needs to be going instead? Because they still need to sell cars.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I think you and I were both, I remember when we were originally talking about this, is like, we probably don't have the whole story as a community. And there's a big overreaction. And I think today proved just that. Like there is some method to this process in its entirety. So
yeah,
I don't know. It was really refreshing. I really enjoyed like the thoughtful approach that they're taking to all their brands. And I got to say, the Defender, it also just looks incredible. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
I want one. I can't afford one, really, but I want one.
Yeah, the Range Rover one. There's so many of those, it seems, around, which is crazy because they're not giving them away.
Oh, no. I wish we could give everybody like, use this code, Sleeping Barber,
part of
10% off your next GLR purchase. JLR, sorry.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, anyway, I just, it was such an interesting conversation. She had said something too about coming back to Dan's question around like, how does a brand rebrand itself and become something more than what it used to be? And I really like that. I forget exactly how she said it, but something like we're a luxury brand with a heritage instead of it being a heritage brand with luxury products.
Totally.
I think sometimes little like, I don't know if you call that a moniker or whatever you want to call that, but just a positioning statement is really interesting because it allows you a lot more freedom when you think of it that way, that to pursue luxury ahead of it, just having this heritage and getting locked into the mentality of the heritage.
Yeah.
It's a platform to inspire change instead of it being a limiting step.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that, well, we'll probably pull it out as a quote from the episode, but when she did say that, it's like, it's not just about putting it on the shelf,
Yeah.
And I think that for me really personified this new direction. And at the end of the day, you need to be honoring that heritage. We talked about the distinctive brand assets and things to that effect, but how do you continue to propel these brands forward
Mm-hmm.
to make them still relevant today, even though there is this lasting heritage that
Yeah.
no one can ignore.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other one for me, well, there's lots of things that stick out
There's a
for me,
lot.
but yeah, there's a lot. I'll have to go back and replay it all just to hear it again. But
Yeah.
again, the Theo James spot featuring
Yeah.
the Range Rover Sport vehicle, just the backstory on that, I just find fascinating. The strategy of how you got to the final version of that is so interesting. And it's
Or
I mean, just thinking about the cast and then the vehicle and then the rental fees for that castle. They're like, I'm sure
totally.
that's not a cheap commercial either, but making it so that you're getting the best bang for your buck from that creative, knowing that the creative is going to be such an important targeting tool, and a honing beacon, and making sure you're getting that right through small edits, like those half-second changes she was talking about in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
Super interesting hearing the background of that.
Or the fact that they had to do two versions, one for the UK, one for the US, right? That alone did really well in their specific segments, but there wasn't one that was just used globally.
Yeah.
And I think again, it also speaks like to the nuances that exist culturally.
Yeah.
Especially with these global brands, you have to make sure that you're thinking about that a little bit. And it's not just like here's what, maybe Coca-Cola is different. And even though they do regionalization, even at the global level and things like that, but just the thought process and going back to the testing and why testing is important, I think is one of those things that we can't ever really lose sight on as marketers. And I think especially creatively, sometimes we do lean on opinions more than just kind of some of the facts and data. And obviously you can't go wrong. You need to go off of something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Anything that sticks out for you?
I know we kind of ended with this, but taking that scientific approach and helping like the three core challenges, the defending budget, justifying ROI, balancing budgets between short and long term. I think that it's great to hear that people like Charlotte are implementing these ideas to help in these areas as well, because all too often a lot of us just go back to what we've done, what we've come to know, and instead of kind of looking outside of what the I guess what we know today and spending more time on the science side a little bit, I think just helps us in that fact. So for me, it was just great to hear like a big brand like JLR is doing that. So I can really appreciate the complexity that involves. She talked about the MMM that's coming, and we internally just gone back like 3 years right now, but they were talking about they're going back decades, right? That data pull has got to be an interesting one, and I'd love to be a fly on the wall when those insights come out to see like how things have evolved over time. But it's fascinating that again, to use the tools that you have in your toolkit. And I think we've been talking about the over investments on say the traditional more performance marketing side, moving away, using MMMs to help remodel a little bit. I should talk about like the psychology element, which is so important in marketing today than ever before. I really wanted to pick at that even more. I bet you we could have done the whole episode just on that, like the study that what were those insights that came out of that study? How did it inform category entry points, etc. But so much, man. It was just such a great episode.
It was really awesome. Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that stuck out for me with the defending budget, justifying ROI, and balancing short and long kind of thing was the absence of something, which was, I mean, this sounds obvious, but she didn't talk about last click attribution. She didn't talk about, you know what I mean? Like a data-driven model. on digital channels. She mentioned they're doing stuff like product placement at the NBA All-Star game and experiential kind of things. And those things don't have a click associated with them.
It's big and marketing.
And they're just really culturally important for the relevance of the brand. And, the play on the earned media impact of those kinds of things. It's hard to measure that on a digital channel. And I think
you can't.
It's really interesting hearing her thoughts on that.
Yeah. And obviously it's working,
Yeah.
They're doing really well, record-breaking revenue, profits, etc. So obviously they're headed in the right direction. I think she was right not to just, say marketing was the catalyst or the reason why.
I mean, the products are great.
The products are great.
Yeah. The pricing is on point for
the
product that it is.
Not for me, but yes.
Yeah. And then like the availability of it, she mentioned too, the industry availability or like availability of the product, which will also, I'm sure, change in the future. There's some news around tariffs and whatnot, but all that stuff matters when it comes to like, can we drive revenue? Well, a lot of it depends. Is the product available?
Yeah. So cool.
Good.
Jaguar. Do you want to talk about Jaguar just quickly?
Oh yeah.
I love the backstory there as well. I think it's still going to be quite a polarizing product. I think even though like maybe they're able to start to find that niche a little bit.
Yeah.
I still think there's a lot more work to do because I think she was right in recognizing that Jaguar of the two brands probably has even more heritage, especially in the UK. So it'll be interesting how that continues to evolve, I think, in my opinion. I know right now it's like a concept car, and usually there's sometimes the concept cars versus like the actual production vehicles, there's quite a difference between the two, and you see parts of it. She didn't mention that there's a lot more that's being carried through into the production car. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes to life. But we didn't get a chance to talk about like the uniqueness though of using things like was it Fashion Week in Paris? I don't remember what it was called, but like using these different forums to launch vehicles versus what would have been a traditional launch in a trade show or one of the big ones, the SEMAs and things like that. So yeah, I'm here for it. I want to see how this continues to roll out. Fascinated again by the backstory about how this all came down, but it's what we said earlier. There was we didn't have the whole story, and I think there was a big overreaction by the community.
Yeah, and I for me, like I'm not a car guy. I drive a Honda Pilot, which is a great car. But I'm just
that.
No, but it just it's not something like I've never been super interested in cars, so.
Okay.
The history and like other than some of the bigger name ones, like I know Ferraris and I mean Lamborghinis. I've heard of Jaguar, obviously, but I don't have I'm not invested in any kind of car brands per se.
Yeah.
So, severing the historical tie to some of the distinctive assets they've had and the history of the brand, all that kind of stuff. As a marketer, I would say like there's all those things that we talked about in the past too, which would be, there's risk to doing that.
Yeah.
But as a guy who's not a car guy, like, yeah, it's a new car. Cool. You know what I mean? Like,
do I like it? Yes or no?
Yeah. Like, I think, would I buy it? That's a whole other question. I think that's kind of the idea around the rebrand itself, which is to say that, similar to their tagline with the other things about, a luxury brand, but with heritage. There's a heritage there. But I think they're trying to find new markets. They're trying to find, I get the point. There's a whole bunch of people that have never bought Jaguar before and have no historical connection to it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And I think from other reports we've read, it seems like the brand was on decline as it was over the last few years. So it's a big opportunity, I think, for them to revitalize it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
Interesting.
it's really interesting.
Yeah, and I hope it does insanely well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Charlotte,
Given
if
the
you're
track
listening,
record. Yeah.
thanks again for an incredible conversation. I know I speak for Mark. There are some incredible insights there, and we appreciate you kind of pulling back the curtain on JLR there for us. It was a great discussion.
Yeah. And with that, V, I hear the Vitamix of profit spinning upstairs.
The only thing I hear is the little footsteps of my daughter running in the kitchen right now. So it's like, it's amazing.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk soon, man. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.